Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. Have you ever wondered how to rise above addiction? We got a great guest for you. Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. I'm Ryan Morris, and as always, I'm here with your host, Nicholas T. Smith. If you haven't subscribed to YouTube, go ahead and do that now. You can ding the bell, Wake Up with Giants TV, and so you can subscribe so you can get all the alerts and notifications for all the fun you're going to miss if you don't. And then go to Wake Up with Giants, or go to Wake Up with Giants TV on Facebook. Follow us there. Then there's two ways. And then join us on the tribe. And then we haven't said that in a minute, huh? And then go to Facebook and join a tribe of giants, because we've got a great tribe of giants. In fact, one of our guests today well, all three of our guests, because I'm a guest, Nick's a guest, JD's a guest. We're all members of the League of or the Tribe of Giants, and so yeah, go do that. Nick, will you introduce our guest today?
Yeah, I'm going to do just a brief intro here. We got JD Greenlaw. Did I say that right? Greenhall.
No, it's pronounced Green Ouch.
Dude, I'm way off.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm just going to give you a new name. Yeah.
That'll work. I've been looking for one.
Yeah. So say that again. Green Ouch.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, I'm way off. So
we always joke about a lot of guests and their names, and then they're something being silent in the name. This one is real.
Yeah.
Normally it's like Smith, and we're like, oh, the M and the I are silent, so it's
right.
Yeah.
This one's real.
Yeah, no, this one is. The very end of it, the last 5 letters doesn't look like it says what it says.
How do you get such a freaking cool name? Where does that come from?
I don't know. I was adopted, honestly.
There you go. Me too.
So yeah. So I'm a mix of everything from Irish and Welsh and all that stuff back there, and so I'm a mutt.
Hey,
I'm a mutt too. Me too. Well, a little less of a mutt, but Scottish mutt.
I heard purebred.
Yeah.
Purebred.
Well, JB, man, let's tell a little bit about you, and then we'll dive into your show. But you're a father of 4. You've got 1 son and 3 daughters. That's what I've got. So 1 boy, 3 girls. You've done all kinds of work as a background. Recovered from addiction. Is that correct?
Nope.
No.
Man,
I'm going to let you intro yourself.
Yeah, no, I've never on the addiction side. It wasn't me. It was family. So
yeah, that's okay. That's right. Because your sister, is that correct? Yeah.
Yep, my sister, my parents.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've come out the other side of addiction as one on the outside of it, experiencing it.
Al, I love Al. He throws down the comments. He's a great friend. I still can't pronounce his name.
Well, the beauty of where you're at, JD, is you're exploring where you want to go in the future. You're in the Giants journey. You're growing. You're helping others to recognize their potential. And I feel like you're phenomenal at it. Ryan and I got a chance to come on your show with you and Al, and that was amazing to be able to just sit there and dialogue with you guys. And so this is your chance to really explore your journey and what you've been through so people can connect with that. We feel like being a giant comes in all forms, and it's not just about monetary success or social success. It's all about you reaching your potential, whatever that looks like.
I thought it was social success. They told me the more views I got, the better off I'd
be. Yeah, man.
We only have we have one.
Yeah.
Nick didn't even like it. I did.
Hey, that works.
Probably go back into the page and like it.
I know, right?
You guys
I'm going in
no
now.
idea how many fake profiles I have to keep building. Just kidding.
Well, let's go back in time. Tell us about what it was like growing up. What was family like? Tell us a little bit about your history.
So growing up, wasn't anything like horrible. I grew up in a mobile home park. That's where I was born and raised, and there until I was about 10 years old. When I was 2 years old, my mom and my biological dad divorced, and they've had me, and then I had I've got a little brother that's both of theirs as well.
Okay.
And then after that, my mom met a guy that he was smart, but he was an alcoholic, and then he liked his porn and some other activities, I guess you could say, drug wise. But it wasn't like he was like a heavy drug addict, just recreational. He was abusive in that verbally, um, and I watched him beat my mom, physically hit her, physically like he wasn't good to be around. I don't claim to remember this at all, but my mom says there was a time when he was sitting there beating on her. I ran in front of her and jumped up, and I mean I was just a little guy, but just said stop hitting my mom. It's something along that line. So I mean it was pretty bad and pretty brutal with him being around in that aspect. But between with him and her, they had two girls, which were my two sisters. And then after she got out of that marriage, she got into another marriage, and that guy actually adopted me when I was 11 years old. And so I took on his whole name. My name used to be Colton David Peck, and it changed to J Dakota Greenouch. So and I go by JD because his name was Jay as well, and so it's just easy to do that to separate. Um, yeah, so growing up, I mean, I played baseball. I loved baseball. I wasn't the tallest of kids that come naturally to doing certain things in sports or just, so I had to work really hard at it. And I wanted to pitch. That was the position that I always wanted. And so I started pitching and I really dedicated myself to it all the way up through high school and that. Um, and anyways, with the third dad that came in, I mean, life was great. It was like we had a fairy tale family, right? Like everything just seemed like perfect. Everything was going around. I had a good home structure. Come home, we ate dinners together, did homework, just the normal stuff, like the things that you'd be expected to do, like things weren't bad at all. They really weren't. Well, when I was 15 years old, Jay's mom passed away, and she was really close to him. And Jay had a broken back, so in that he was taking certain things to be able to obviously control that pain. Hi, sweetie, how are you?
This is
Okay.
Capri.
Very nice.
Yeah, she's gonna help us do the show. So keep going though. So you had the pain meds, and he did, not you.
Yeah. So he was in the pain meds pretty not heavy. Like obviously he was just doing it to manage his pain. I mean, he had
Yeah,
metal plates in his neck. He had broken
yeah.
back, bulging discs, those kinds of things. So dealing with that stuff. Anyways, what happened was he got put on a patch, and like a fentanyl patch, I think is what they called it, or something like that. Anyways, it made him sick, so he would trade it with his mom and give her the patch, and he would take the oxycontin from her.
Hmm.
Well, when she passed away, he no longer had access to that source, right? And anyways, she trying to think. When she passed away, right at the funeral time, he went and asked another family member if they had something that he could have. Anyways, he went to his place of business. The guy owned a sign shop. Anyways, he went in there and he said, "Yeah, I've got something for you." He sent him into the bathroom to hit a line, right? And thinking being in the pills like they'd gotten, where they crush them up or do different things and snort it or suck the coating off, different things. Anyway, so he goes in and he hits this line of something, and I talked to him, so I know this story. I finally talked to him after 17 years, but to understand what it was. But yeah, he went in there and I mean, he hit a line and it was meth. He said he asked the guy, and he's like, "What is this?" And because he felt great, felt 10 feet tall and bulletproof, and like he could accomplish the world, right? So at 15, it started and it became his regular thing. And he felt like, if he only did it once in a while, he was going to be okay. Well, it became to where it wasn't a once in a while thing. It very quickly became where he needed it several times a day.
Hmm.
And he lost his job. Then he found another job that he was, this point, when he got the second job, he got into where he was shooting it up. And he did the same thing where he just felt like he, as long as he was doing it behind closed doors, he wasn't hurting anybody else. And long story short, this is something when I was 16, I remember I worked my butt off and I bought me a Toyota pickup, right? And not this is relevant, but this is something that really makes you mad in how they will think. But I had a shift fork go out my tranny, so I needed to have fix it. So I dropped my tranny. He went and said he got all the parts. This is for a birthday gift for me. They were gonna fix it, or he was gonna help me fix it. And this is what meth will do. Okay, so he got the money to go get me my parts or whatever. I had pulled the transmission out of this truck, pulled it out so we could fix it and put it back together. Right. Well, one night while he was doing his thing, he decided to clean it really good and then paint the tranny, make it look good, and then put it back up in the truck and then told me, hey, it's good to go. I went to get in the truck. The truck didn't move anywhere. It was just a pretty tranny. That's all it was. I was like, hey, that's cool, but the coat of paint didn't fix my problem. You know what I mean? so,
Man.
so So I had to deal with that. While he was into the meth, my mom, obviously, we discovered that he was into some stuff when I was 16 years old, and she was trying to fix their marriage because it was everything. She was in love with the guy. It was her fairy tale. She absolutely loved him, and he was an amazing guy. He really was. Like, even his personality today, he's still a charming guy. He's got a bad thing that's got a bad grip on him. And anyways, when I was 16, that's when she was trying to fix the marriage. She was trying to figure out what's going on, and then she got into the drugs herself, trying to fix it, like feeling like if she could relate to him, then there would be, like, hey, trying to fix it together, I guess. But she went down the opioid hole really, really bad, and in doing so, my mom. She fell off the bandwagon pretty hard. When I was 17 years old for my 17th birthday, and my family can attest to this, but I had an intervention for her instead of a birthday. It was something I asked family members and some friends of hers to come over, and we went and talked to her. And it was really hard for me because I wasn't the crazy one. Me and my one sister, like, we did our own investigation to find out what was going on. There was a lot of opiates and that in our house, and empty pill bottles, empty prescription bottles, and it was ungodly amounts. And so something was wrong. And just the fact, I mean, if you guys know people that have been addicts and stuff, and I'm sure you've heard the story, but like when they're on that stuff, they're zonked out all the time. They're not them. And my mom also too was a graveyard nurse, and so she blamed it on being just tired and working all the time and all the stress, which, yeah, part of it, but the fact is something else is going on, and she wasn't willing to talk about it and get the help that she needed. And so life took a really hard turn right there. When I was 17, I had a choice. I was getting ready to go to college, graduate, do all that, play baseball. I was excited. Anyways, because it got so bad, my senior year, I ended up dropping out of high school. I went to night school and was working construction full time so that I could help take care of my brothers and sisters. And in that time, it was really hard because also too, with my mom being a nurse, trying to help her so she could stay clear and get off of things. Like, she came to me and asked me for help at one point, and I'm out on the streets buying Suboxone to make sure she can pass a drug test. And so it was really hard for me to keep everything in composure together that way.
JD, let me ask you something real quick.
Yeah.
So as you're developing, because this is your formative years, these are the times where during development up until the age 25, our brains are just processing and trying to make sense of this world. And our caregivers are the ones that give us a sense of how the world works. And so what I'm curious about is inside of you as you're going through this developmental stage, which sounds like just a mess, right?
Yeah, it turned into one.
How did that impact you and your development for you internally? Like, what did you think about yourself? What did you think the world was like?
I
Does that
felt
make
like,
sense?
no, I do. Yeah, no, I felt like I didn't get a fair shake. I didn't really get to be a kid at that point, if that makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying again, I mean, obviously we all have our good days, bad days, and good things in life, but I do feel like it robbed me of my childhood. It robbed me from really being able to go do certain things that I wanted to go do. You
Yeah.
know, like going to college like I wanted to and stuff. And I mean, I've gone to college now, and I don't have my degree yet, but I have, you know, attempted. But being in that frame, like I feel like, I mean, all I wanted to do was play baseball and chase girls. You
Yeah.
know, like
Sounds
that
perfect.
wasn't, yeah, that wasn't, that became a choice that, you know, I didn't have. And even if I wouldn't even go play ball, but I wanted to go to school anyways, you know, like I still wanted to have the experience
Hmm.
and catapult my life in a direction differently than where and what I've done now, right? And so, and because I had to become I'm the oldest of five siblings, like I had to become the one that um, I had to stand up to the plate. You know, I had to be there for him. I had to be the example and stuff. And I'm not a perfect example by no means. I made plenty of my own mistakes down the way. But at 17 years old and getting that thrown in your lap, I mean, what do you expect? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I think the whole goal with where I want to go with this is to just outline that no matter where you start in life or how it goes, there's a chance for you internally to really step into creating you the way you want to be created. And even though like at that young age you were parentified, you became the parent basically. You became the responsible adult in a situation where your parents could have been that for you, but they were so far gone in drugs that there wasn't that opportunity. The life that you could have had isn't there. And so I'd imagine there's some grief around that. We talk about the grief cycle a lot, and how what should have been isn't there. So there's this loss, right?
Yeah.
So how do you work through that?
So, I mean, as time went on, so I mean, just really quick back to that.
Yeah. Yep.
So feeling like obviously taking care of the kids and the siblings and stuff, and then we'll talk about her here in a minute. But my one sister
Yep.
and stuff, we became very close, and we had each other's backs through this. We leaned on each other, and as time went on, really shortly, I felt like, hey, well, I'm a parent myself, and so my high school girlfriend, I knocked up. So, you know, I was like, well, if I'm going to be a dad, I might as well make it real, I guess. You know, that wasn't the real mentality thought of it, but nonetheless, I had a son at a very young age. He'll be 13 actually this year. And then lost my job whenever a lot of people did back in '08, right? So when the economy started tanking, '08, '09. And so I enlisted in the military, was in the Navy. I did it and did it to be able to help out my family. And then after my experience there, got divorced, and also too just came home to still what was called a mess. You know, mom was still going back and forth with things with dad. She had divorced him already at this point, but it was just one of those things you could see that just wasn't good at home, right? And anyways, while I was out there, have you guys ever heard of life leadership?
I have. Yep.
Okay. So life
Orrin
leadership,
Woodward. Yep. Chris
yeah,
Brady.
yeah, so I got introduced to life leadership from a lady, and I've always like wanted to help fix the problems. Like I liked coaching, the counseling, or just always feeling like there's something bigger. Well, I got introduced to it, and so it opened my eyes up to the law of attraction, thoughts become things, different things like that. Like it's something that almost like in a sense when I felt really hopeless with my family situation, at least it gave me hope in my own situation to create what I want in life, right? And so I was handed the book The Secret by Rhonda Burns. So I love that book. That was the first book I've ever gotten that inspired me to look in a different direction. Right? I've never heard of the law of attraction before. And I'll be honest, if I didn't, like I would have, and the situation, if I would have got it a little bit sooner, I'd have been like, yeah, this is a bunch of bullshit because this is not definitely anything I asked to attract into my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
And so, so I got into it. When I got back home, I was in construction and that. So I got my hands on this. I joined this group called Life Leadership and being able to help people and coach people. Well, it was just another MLM, and so it didn't turn out to be the what I wanted it to be, but it gave me good information. And so it was there that I knew it around the age of 22 that I needed to make a shift. and to change my mindset, to try to get me on the right path. And I'm not here to say it's been easy. It has not been. I'm not anywhere close to where I want to be, right? Like the successful financer person. I'm not. I still have my rough days, just like a lot of people. You know what I mean? And so, but that book gave me so much inspiration and hope that I could literally shift things from within to the outside. And it is something that I've had to learn over the last 10 years, that it's something you have to consistently work at. It's not something that I could just apply back when I was 22 and it just kept going, right? Like you have to consistently do it and you have to consistently keep your mind set in the right place. So anyway, so that opened up, and then after I learned the MLM side of things, I was like, no offense, this just isn't for me, because I was just pushing product is all I was doing. It's not like I was actually truly helping people within, which is what I like to do. And so anyways, while going through that process, yeah, do you got any questions?
No,
Al
Al.
says when I heard about the law of attraction, I thought it was a dating site.
Oh,
Can be.
Yeah.
It's whatever you want to attract. You know what, JD, I like about that too, though, is that I think things in life. This is this is my own personal view, but I feel like that there are no accidents. That you're exactly where you're supposed to be. That even though that outside influences or outside other people's lives can influence or push things on you that you didn't ask for. You didn't say, hey, yeah, mom, dad, all the drug abuse, the physical abuse, the verbal abuse, the mental abuse. You didn't ask for all of that stuff. That's the
yeah,
circumstance that you were placed into. And so some of the circumstances, we can't sit and pick and choose. I want this circumstance, I want this circumstance, especially at a young age. But as you
right.
developed and as you got older and started to recognize, hey, I don't like these circumstances, I don't like where this is going, what can I do? You had this level of awareness or consciousness. Inside of the book, The Giants and the Smalls, that Nick Smith wrote, um, Rit, he is doing that. He's letting the circumstance dictate where he's at in life and how he lives and how he shows up, until one day he hears the giants in the distance, right? And they laugh, and he hears this laughter, and he looks up and he does a giant thing, and there's a picture of a clock, and it's 5:55. It's the number of change, and he starts doing something that he had never done before. He starts thinking expansive questions in his mind. He starts thinking, how could I do this? Is this possible for me? What can I do to get there? All of these different things that he's never asked himself before. And I see that inside of, finding life leadership, wanting something different. JD wanted something different. He was sick and tired of being sick and tired. He was sick and tired of the same things happening, even though all of it wasn't dictated by you. There was all this stuff that was surrounding you. And JD looked up and he said, hey, you know what? I'm going to do something different. And you did. You read a book. You started acting different. You started associating with different people that help change your mindset. That right there, like that's the stepping out onto a different path to get a different result, and start surrounding yourself with giants.
Yeah.
And those probably came in all kinds of different ways. You learned some different things. And even though, maybe the business model that was involved in that wasn't for you, isn't that interesting that as you started feeding this something different, you started getting different results?
No, I definitely did, and I'm not going to say that it's all been peaches and cream, because again, I mean, being straight with you guys,
Sure. It's
I've
life,
gone
right?
through, I mean, again, where I'm at, but I've been in bankruptcy. I've pretty much lost everything a couple times. I mean, it's just the way of the world and stuff, and as far as things go, I've been the only one that's made sure to do whatever I have to work and provide for my family. And my wife's been able to stay home, and she's taking care of our baby and stuff. So those things, again, like that. So I've had bumpy road. It's not been an easy road. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, and and I hope, again, I keep positive that that's going to change. I keep obviously putting out there. I mean, I wouldn't have met you guys. again, a reason for this. There's like you said, I'm attracting things into my life. You guys are attracting things into your life, and it's because of those vibrations and wanting to be more than what we are.
JD, let me interject in that too, that man, the Giants journey never ends. Like if you think you've made it, then you're on the wrong path. That's I mean, there's so many areas that we can grow.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
if I look at it, my favorite plant is the Romanoff broccoli, and I always got to pull in fractals into this, and we'll pull in the other F words eventually. But the beauty of it is that there's self similarity in the whole thing, and at scale. So as it scales up, there's changes and complexity in it. And as I look at your life and what you've I don't know transcended, let's say that way, what you've overcome, is that you've risen above what was your foundation and you've made it greater. And that's the Giants journey. The Giants journey isn't about arriving somewhere. It's about finding other places where you're small and feeling small and then growing into those. And so as we share your journey, part of that growth is having bankruptcy or foreclosure in your case. That might not be everybody's situation. Part of your journey is going through a family with drug addiction. I mean, we haven't even got into what happened with your sister. And if we can talk about that too. And beyond that, I want to talk about how you step into your giantness every day. Like, how do you step into what you have in mind? Because you have a vision that's bigger than where you're at right now.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
If you can share about your sister, and then we'll dive into that philosophy, if that works.
Yeah. Yeah. So my sister, it'll be 2 years on December 11th that she passed away. She overdosed on Oxycontin, and they also said oxymorphone, but she was on so much Oxycontin that her body created oxymorphone, is what the medical examiner said. But anyways, and she didn't do it purposely. I believe that 100%. The way that she was found, I just I truly believe she just had an amount in her body. The way she was found, it was just like her body shut down. When somebody goes to overdose on purpose, usually you see evidence of that they did it on purpose, right? She was in the middle of doing something and pretty much just fell asleep sitting on the floor, is what happened. So, yeah, I remember that phone call, and the first phone call I got it from my biological dad. Long story short, my biological dad is now dating my mom again. So that even, some days that's weird as shit. So, but I've made good amends with him and stuff. We've got a good relationship. He's a great guy, and I love him. But anyways, I got a phone call from him saying, "Hey, you need to get home. I don't know how to tell you this, but your sister passed away." And I was in like, "Yeah, whatever. You're full of shit. This is a bad joke, right?" And then right after that, my mom's called me. She's like, "You need to get here now." And I'm up in Salt Lake, and they live down in Salem. And so I haul butt there, and they were like, my siblings wanted to go down and see her. And I was like, "Don't do anything until I get home. Don't do anything until I get there. I'll talk to the cops, and I'll talk to them and stuff, and let me evaluate the situation first." And so I hurried and hauled butt down there. I got into the house, went in, checked on them, made sure that they were okay. I went down with my mom, and the detective, and went and seen my sister. And it was really hard because, again, she was a stubborn person, but she was also too just one of those ones that was closer to my age. And so we just got along. We could have good conversations, and it was really hard because in November, I know she's been going through this alcohol and pill issue for quite some time. And I told her in November, I was like, "Hop in my car." I was wanting to drive her down to a rehab down in Arizona. I was like, "I'll take you. I don't care if I have to file bankruptcy to get you in it. I don't care. Like, whatever it's going to take to get you help, like, let's get in it." And she's like, "No, I'm going to be fine." She's like, I promise, JD, I'm turning things around. And I was like, if you don't, and the last thing I said to her, I was like, if you don't do this, if you don't take care of it now, you're going to end up dead. And I love you. It's not to be harsh, but that's what you're going to end up with. And no more than 4 weeks later, she's not with us.
Holy cow, man.
So
It's heavy.
So yeah. So anyways, I seen her and stuff, and then I made the decision that I thought it was best that my siblings didn't see her that way, and so that was really hard in that aspect. You know, I never thought in a million years that she would be gone, and it was really hard because in September, mine and my wife's baby was born, and I wanted my sister to be around, but I wouldn't let her be around if, if she was high, right? Like I didn't trust her being able to hold my baby, and I was just things like that. Like I wanted her to be there, but I needed her to be there sober, not the way that she was.
Hmm.
And so that was a really hard turn of events. Took a really hard toll on my mom, even more so, you know. And so that didn't do any good. And then our little sister, which is she's a few years younger than the one that passed away, she went down a really bad road of alcohol. I mean, extremely bad. Out, she's getting DUIs. She wrecked her car into a field. Just a whole bunch of things. So things just started to spiral out of control.
Hmm. You know, JD, I wanna honor you. I know, man, you kind of lay that out on a timeline and all of these things. These I mean, it's like adult type stuff that you're having to deal with as a kid, all through your childhood, and then you're trying to live your life, and you don't fall into all of that stuff. You very easily could have chosen the same dark path of drugs,
No,
abuse,
absolutely,
alcohol, all those things. Yet you didn't,
absolutely.
and having to, it's kind of on all sides. You've got, all these people around you in your life that are battling, these things, these addictions, and the struggles in life. And so I just want to honor you for um, just, I mean, that's a lot of willpower. That's a lot of strength. Um, and man, I know, some of those heavy things that we try to deal with as kids, not in that heavy of a way. That's a pretty heavy thing. I have family members that dealt with that stuff. I was adopted as well. Have half sisters and half brothers that have been through a lot of similar things, and to watch them and to how they're having to piece back their lives, that's not an easy road. Just that, and so I just want to honor you for man, the strength and for the character of who you are. You're doing a great job, man. You are doing a killer job inside of that. So I don't know if anyone's told you that lately, but man, I'm sitting over here on the other side of the screen, thinking, wow, just grateful for my life and that I didn't have to go through those types of things, but also proud as heck just knowing you for the short amount of time I have and who you are. Just proud to be a friend and a fellow giant. Somebody that's,
Yeah.
wow, you're just killing it, man.
No, like I said, I'm very grateful again to meet both of you guys. You guys are amazing, and I'm very grateful for that. And I'm excited to see where you guys also go, you know.
Thanks,
And
brother.
so,
Well, look,
but
I wanna dive in because to go through that, a person could easily succumb, like Ryan was saying, and hold that as the story that defines their life, right? Well, I can't because, and then rattle that off, and there would be nobody that could reject that story. They would hear that
right,
story. You are absolutely justified in who you're being because of that story. And what I hear in you, JD, is I can because, and you're using that story to show up daily, and it's the same story, but the way that you're using it is to create yourself in a way that is different from what you grew up in. And to me, that's the giant's journey. To me, that is stepping into your potential. um, Man, it could be so easy to just fall back into something like that, and it's not falling back in for you because you haven't been in that space of being addicted. um,
right.
but it could be easy to go down that path using that as a justification. But what I want to hear, I guess, from here is, how do you step into your beingness every day? Like, what is it that you do? What are your philosophies for interacting with people, interacting with yourself more? Like, how do you talk to yourself? How do you
So
keep
every
going?
day, I mean, I'm not gonna lie and say that it's not a struggle. You
Yeah,
know, I'm in door-to-door sales and solar right now, and so that's
yeah,
definitely mentally beating. I care for the doors, to be honest.
yeah,
I hate it so much that I got good at it because I don't like being out there for very long on the doors. I'm just gonna put it that way.
yeah,
But every day it is honestly a mental thing because I mean, like I said, again, just in sales and stuff, man, I have it where like we do really good and we get ahead, and then it's like we have a bad month or bad 2 months, and then it's like,
yeah,
okay, the reins are tight, finances are extremely tight, like
yeah,
like you feel like you get 5 steps forward and then fall, 7 backwards. Like it's the world we live in. But my biggest thing and my biggest every day, what keeps me motivated is one, back when they got into the drugs, like I told myself I didn't want to do that. And I've tried
mm,
weed once. I was 26 years old, and it was the worst weed experience of my life. So it's something I just would never partake in. So I thought I was a champ and Superman and that nothing could penetrate me, right? So I sat there and I ripped on this bowl like 3 times, never hit it before in my life. And they're like, dude, just do it once. And I was like, no, I'm good. I hit it 3 times. I was just sitting there and I was like, I don't feel nothing. You guys, this is a bunch of crap, right? Well, I stood up and it hit me like a whole new world. And I was like, F this. This is bullshit.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
do not like feeling like this. This is dumb. And so yeah, so I didn't do any of that. I wasn't gonna partake in it, but I remember like again, it was one of those things that because of what it done to my dad, what it had done to my adopted father, right, and what it had done to my mom, like I just like I hated drugs so bad because I watched it. It was like that's what I blamed that destroyed my family.
mm,
That's what I blamed it, and not to blame anybody because again, they had their choices to make. They could have said yes, they could have said no. They could have made the choice to not go down that route. But it gave me a prime example that I wasn't willing to at least go. I might fuck shit up for my family, and make choices or go through hard times, which
yeah,
I can handle that because my head's in a clear space. Not doing it intoxicated one way or another.
yeah,
And I don't feel that same way anymore. Obviously, I've learned what it does to people, but for the longest time, I don't support. I'm not saying on here, hey guys, go out and do drugs, because that's definitely I don't support that on that end. Like it's not a good choice. It's not gonna have usually doesn't have really good repercussions, right? But having that right there, that hate towards it, and then the hate towards my parents for what they did, I was like, because having my son at a young age and having my kids and stuff, I was very determined that I was not going to be like that. Sounds really bad, but it's still something in me that I do not want to be like my parents.
yeah. There's a thing called a mirror neuron in the brain, and it fires when we see something in others. And we can play out scenarios and predict and create in our mind before we ever act it out. And it sounds like in your case that when you witnessed what was going on in your parents and all of the drug use and alcoholism and these things that were just taking them away from being present, right? And that's what that does, is it takes you out of reality and you're in that, and you're not here, and you're looking at that, and your brain is firing saying, I don't want to be that. Like for me, I'm going to be something else. Is that fairly accurate?
Oh, absolutely. Like again, I mean, and not that it's been an easy road. Like, I still miss
Yeah.
out on certain things. Like I can't make it to all my son's baseball games or, the girls' ballet dances and stuff like that just due to work, Again, you
Yeah.
know how it is in sales. Usually people shop when they're off and we have to be present.
That's
So
Yeah.
100% true.
so I have to work around that stuff. So I mean that stuff, working towards it, and I'll get there one day. But it's a striving factor for me every single day that I wake up, even when I don't want to go out and knock those doors, when I don't want to go out and do what I'm doing. The fact is I keep in mind it's not my end game. I'm not going to be a door-to-door salesman for the rest of my life. I mean, I want to get in where I actually get to help coach. I want to help teach people. I want to help them with personal development, and I want to, like my son, I bought him The Secret for Teens. Like I
Hmm.
strive on making sure that I set myself up, and even though I'm going to take the hard road, which I'm taking, I want to make sure that I've taken that hard road to make sure that I use it and apply it as guidance and lessons for my children in the right way. And to also too, what would that mean to me when I have goals and ambitions and dreams? Like I went to college for psychology. I didn't finish my degree because I was working full time, taking care of a family, and my family came first in that situation. But I've always wanted to help people. I worked with a program called Strengthening Families down in Utah County. I loved it. I thought it was a great program to be able to help out with troubled youth. But the biggest thing is inspiring people. Everybody gets stuck. And my biggest and most important, aside from inspiring people outside of my home and outside of my circle, I mean, I got to make sure that I'm inspiring those ones that are internally as well. You know what I mean? To have an open mindset, to know that things are possible, to know that what they thought or whatever they want can happen. Their dreams can come true.
Yeah,
And that's something I push for every day.
I want to paint a picture of JD for a minute based on what you just shared. Okay. So our logo for Mandelbrot is a tree. And if we were to step back and look at JD's creation and vision of what JD is going to create in the world, and it will be created, that it would be the JD tree. And off of that would come JD fruit. That sounds a little weird, but it would be your fruits of whatever you create, right?
Right.
And you would know that that tree is that type of tree, that it's that type of creation. But if you had to predict that tree from the sprout of what branches would be there and which pathways it would take to become that JD tree, you would have a really hard time predicting and looking forward and deciding which of those pathways is going to create that JD tree, right? And go with me on this for a minute, because I want to anchor in your vision here, because you said a few words here that brought up in me some energy. You said the hard path. I take the hard path. That is a possibility for your JD tree, the hard path. There's also a bunch of other paths that are available for JD to create that vision that he has. One of those could be as a possibility going back to school and finishing. One of those could be a possibility that a job comes along that fits exactly what he's looking for. These are just possibilities and branches. But at the end of the day, what you know is that the JD tree will exist in the world, and they'll be putting out fruit that is unique to JD, and it'll be a creation that is. And I'm predicting this for you so that you can hear this. It is not your job to predict the pathway. Your job is to hold the vision of the tree and then let the pathways appear as possibilities. And so when we look forward, a lot of times we look at our vision of what we want to create and we think we have to know the exact path. We're taught to set SMART goals and do these things and the how-tos of that creation. But what we want to do is hold that the creation already is, that tree will exist. How it comes about, like Steve Jobs says, it's not your job to predict the path looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backward. That's what he said. You have to trust your gut, intuition, God, whatever it is, that the dots will somehow connect. And so as I say that for you, JD, I went on a little rant there.
No, I was just going to say on that, man, because it's just like the law of attraction again, only 20% of it or 10% of it's the how, like we focus so much on how we're going to do this. What steps are we going to have to take, and it's like, no, you put that out there and you keep working towards it and you keep making the connections, like things will unfold. My long-term goal.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, no, my long-term goal is, again, I just want to help people. I just truly want to be in a spot where I can help people. Like, this may sound crazy, and I mean, what you guys are doing is great, so I don't want to ever take away from that, but I want to be a keynote speaker. I love speaking to people. I love speaking to groups. I've done it while I've been in sales. I love going in and motivating people, and it always goes off from the sales topic because we all know here, all three of us, we know the sales process, right? And so, but going and teaching people that and being able to overcome objections, it's the same thing. You can apply salesmanship in your life. And so I've been able to take it to that level of people in their lives, like people are like, oh, I'm not good at sales. Well, you asked your wife to marry you, right? That's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a pretty good job. Yeah.
So tell me you don't sell. You had to sell yourself for her to say yes, right? Some, unfortunately, we have shitty salesmen there too, right? that baffled somebody into something that probably shouldn't have got into. It's just the world we live into, right? Sometimes we get a lemon. It's all right. But
yeah. But to be able to adapt, right? Look, keep going.
Yeah. But that's my goal, my long-term goal, man, and everything that I've learned is taking things, like, I mean, I would love to go back to school and finish it just to say that I've got my degree and that I accomplished it. But,
Yeah.
the University of Hard Knocks, the life of Hard Knocks, the life experiences, what I've been through, what I've done, I feel like I've done a lot of shit for 32 years old. I have.
Mm.
I've been through a lot. You know what I mean? Like some people I'm talking to, they're 32 years old and they're like, their life's just getting started. And I'm like, man, like you made me feel like I'm 50, 60, you know what I mean? And it's not the case. It's the way that it is. It's like being an old soul.
Dude,
And
32
so,
years. If that was
yeah,
14 years ago for me. 14 years ago, I was bankrupt. My home was foreclosed on 14 years ago. I was at the point of almost losing my relationship. You think at 32, a lot can happen in 14 years. A lot can happen in 2 years. A lot can happen in 6 months in your life. This is where that waking up and stepping into who you're creating yourself to be every day is so important. Like one of the things that I got hung up in, JD, was trying to do it perfectly, to create, and adapt and modify and just make it perfect. And what I've found over time, even now, still learning this, is that good enough wins the game. And you can pursue mastery inside of good enough, but good enough gets the job done and it gets you moving forward. And a lot of times we're trying to perfect things and we're not getting things done because we're stuck in the cycle of perfection, which perfection, if you look at the Latin word perfection, means perficere, to perform and to complete. So if you're performing it and you're finishing it, that's perfection. That's what the word means. And so to step out of like the refining and the flawlessness that we pursue as humans and just getting it done, I could promise you, JD, in 10 years, your life will be completely different from what it is today. 32 years old, man. I think, wow, holy crap. If I could have another 14 years going back in time, I got to do that moving forward. But if I could be 32 again,
I feel the same way now. If I knew what
yeah,
I know now, just like what you guys know now, if we
yeah,
could go back to being 20 years old, what we would have told ourselves back then, this would be a whole different story right now.
Here's the cool thing behind that though is that all those
yeah,
things they gave you experience, right? All the
Oh,
doors you
absolutely.
knock on, all the trials and the hard things, the and the past is just experience. And so from now, the foundation of what to do, what not to do, you have a really, really, really solid foundation that you can look back on and go, let's build from here. Where are we going? What are we doing? How?
And that's
Yeah.
And I love that right there, what you just said. And I use this all the time because our past is important. Like people are like, oh, it's in the past, forget it, right? And that's our past is what taught us lessons. And if we learn from those lessons, that's again the experience. Our past is important because, like you said, it creates us who we are internally, right? Like, I mean, if I probably would have went off to college and played ball, and I wanted to play minor leagues and at least major. If I ever got to the majors, that was a long shot, right? But I mean, I could have gone to college, and I probably would have been some freaking just like college prick, honestly. Like that's how I was in high school. I was just, I didn't give a shit what people thought. I had a goal in mind, like get out of my way or be with me. That was it. Like I didn't follow people. I didn't have a whole lot of friends because I didn't care what other people thought of me. And like, I mean, that's how I really was. And so going through the experiences, it definitely humbled me. Having my son definitely calmed me down. I mean, I grew up with one of those mentalities that I would fight anybody, even if I got my ass whooped. Like I was cool with it. It's just how I was. So like you said, but this what you were just saying, Ryan. I tell people this all the time. Like when you're driving in your car, why is the rear view mirror so small? It's because what's in your rear view mirror is behind you. It's not important. If you're paying attention to your rear view mirror, you're gonna wreck, right? If you're just looking at the rear view mirror, you're not gonna see what's in front of you. That's why the windshield's bigger. The windshield shows you what's in front of you. The windshield gives you options, not the rear view mirror. If you're just staring at your rearview mirror and you come up and you got to make that right turn and you're staring at the rearview mirror, you're not going to make it, And so being able to move forward. So
what I
just
love
an
about the
analogy.
windshield too is if you're on the freeway, you got plenty of options to pull off on any one of these exits and off ramps. and create a whole new pathway all
Yeah.
the time. You could stay on the freeway and go forever, or you can branch off and go somewhere else. And our lives they run that way. And the challenge is we get on the freeway and we think we can't ever get off of it.
Right.
And your exit, you're passing your exit, and then you pass it again, and there's a reroute. It's like reroute. If you miss the exit, we'll find another way. That's where possibility comes in. It's like you're not done because you missed your exit. You don't just pull off the road and give up and shut off the car, throw the keys in the middle of the road and walk away. I mean, you find the next exit and you reroute, and that's what life does. And as long as you hold that vision of where you're going, like you do, JD, of what you're creating in your world, then every exit is a possibility for you.
No. Nope, it definitely is. My I-15's the IRS. Like, I'd like to stay away from that. Just kidding.
I love it. Well, here's what I hear in the journey is your start, and everybody has a different start point. And it doesn't matter if you had giant parents and things were perfect, or if you had parents that really struggled and things were really hard. It doesn't matter where you started. What matters is what you choose to do from there. Like that was the start point. That's all it is. It's like getting on a game board and you got your start point. It just is what it is. Now what?
It's like, keep moving forward. That's the biggest thing, is keep moving forward. So every day, like, I have to work on it. I have to say my affirmations. I try to read daily. My mind will going so fast that sometimes, again, just things start going and it got to be quick, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes I forget to slow down. I forget to take, sit there and vision my day for 5 minutes and meditate and do things like having habits and rituals, because it's like, oh, you guys probably experience the same thing. You're in cells, right? Like, I don't know what it is in life, but our minds, when they kick on, it's like smoking gears right out of the gate, like I can't just wake up and be like, stretch, it's like, how fast can I get into my clothes and Superman out the door?
Right.
And so, like, having to slow down. So that's something I'm working on, is being able to slow down and just take that extra 10-15 minutes of my day. It's like, what are you really losing? Nothing much, you're not losing anything. Actually, you're gaining a lot by taking that time and focus on myself, which is something I have to work on. But going out there every day, man, the biggest thing is that I want to strive to show my family that things are possible. Anything's possible. I've put it out there that, again, I want to be able to speak to people on stages. I want to be able to help people. I want to move people. Like, I get so excited. Like, that's my ultimate drug. My ultimate high is being able to help people. And when you see that change in that shift, it's you can't get a better feeling than that. You can't.
I would wonder this: when's your first event, or when's your next event? Have you scheduled it? And if not, when will you schedule that? And if you do that, when can we see that? Like, make that commitment, make that agreement to do that, and then show up and just do it. And what I think you'll find is that, just like anything, you'll get better and better and better as you do it. It won't ever be a want anymore. It will be what you do. It's just JD does keynote speaking. JD's on the stage this week. Well, that's no surprise. That's who JD is. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, I see it.
No, and that's, again, I would love that so much. And like, I was actually working with Nicole, so I'm going to give her thanks because of what she's got going on. But me and her were talking and stuff, and we were going over like things, because obviously building a coaching platform or a something in that aspect where people can follow, right? And so I've come up with it. I finally got it where I want it as far as the name goes. I actually started getting a website built. My buddy's helping me build a website, but it's going to be called Rewire Empire University. So being able to take in and recreate the mind, drop your beliefs, being able to help change that mind shift to put you on the right path, and giving keys, from doing it in a 30-day trial, 60-day, 90-day, 6 months to a year, depending on what people want to do and stuff. Obviously have different options like that. But the biggest thing, again, is it's just like that, like, I'm not no Tony Robbins. I'm not no Joe Bowers or Grant Cardone, but I can be. And I don't want to be them. Actually, I really don't want to be them. I want to be JD, just like I want Ryan to be Ryan, Nick. I want Nick to be Nick. You know, it's because that's what matters. It's your story, it's your path, it's your journey. When you get to the end of your life and your kids are surrounding you, your wife's surrounding you, you know, they're sitting there and you're getting ready to pass away. I don't want them to look at me and be like, "Hey, what do you wish you would?" You know, are you happy you did everything you wanted? And I want to be sitting there in my bed being like, "Fuck no," you know, like that's.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy. I want to be
Yeah.
the guy that went after what I wanted. You know, I want to be able to know that I left something for my family, for
Yeah.
my kids, to leave that legacy behind. Like, people think that it's not important. You know, a lot of people are so stuck in a job that they hate because they feel like they're trapped. There's no options. They don't try to do other things. You know, and with society, you have to be very conscious because technology, I mean, people can get sucked into it so easy nowadays and go the wrong path, where you have to consciously make certain decisions to better your life every single day.
Right. I love it. Brian, what else?
I was thinking I posted the comment earlier and posted a link as well, but it kept coming up about I kept hearing JD's personal inner commitment, his commitment to having something different, to being something more, to not just accept this is how it is, even though a lot of those things got placed on JD's shoulders. And so there's a thing called TBO LIT NFL, best offensive lineman in the NFL, and Steve Hardison. So I think it's probably about one of the only times that he's been recorded, and he goes up and he talks about the personal inner commitment of who you are. If you knew who you were, what would you do? Really, who you are. Like, I am JD. I am motherfucking JD, as one of the comments said. Like, I
Right
am.
now,
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? So this is the cool thing, is that I can see that personal inner commitment, shining through of who JD is.
well,
If
welcome
you
to your
haven't,
next president of the United States, guys. Then, if that's the case, like,
sure, go, yeah, for real. Like, you could. That's the neat thing about it. So go back and watch that. How would you show up differently, knowing really who you are? And so go check that out when you get a second. And Steve Hardison, thank you for coming up with that, because that's an amazing thing. That's the Deuce Latui story. So if you can Google that, Deuce Latui or TBO LIT NFL.
I want to highlight a process there that you shared. The idea that you have an idea and it becomes a process of prediction. So you have this hope that idea can be a reality. So it goes from hope to prediction. Then it goes from prediction, before you say it, to a declaration. And then it goes to a declaration to a possibility and probability. And then you start to prepare to receive it. So it becomes a certainty. It's inevitable. But it comes from that stepping into it every day and looking at all of the possibilities. When you wake up in the morning, it's not, I have the way, and if that fails, I'm done. It's, what other way? If that doesn't work, what's another way? And what's another way? And what's another way? And so you start to prepare and you start to get anticipation. We talked about anticipation the other day, is where you're so excited. It's like a kid at Christmas. You've created it in such a way that it can't help but come into your space. And so you start preparing the space for it, to receive it. So it's no longer a hope, it's a reality, even before you've received it. And then there comes that space where you receive it, and that is your reality. It becomes a remembering of that event. And so you're going through this process of taking something ethereal and creating it in this reality. And you're going through the same process everybody else will go through. You're going to predict it. Like you just said, president, and then you said, just kidding. You immediately negated any possibility of becoming president with that just kidding. A declaration would have been that I will be president of the United States. Watch me. And you'd go out and chase every possibility to create that as a reality.
I don't want that job. I really don't. I want to go make a difference in people's
Me
lives,
neither.
and I'm not saying that would be the country, and a lot of world people would not like me if I became that way. So,
whatever you say, man. They might, whatever you say.
It only takes a little over half.
Yeah.
No, we would go right back to 1776. So,
instantaneously.
Well, I love
Right.
your journey, man. You are inspiring. You have overcome and are continuing to overcome the challenges you face daily, and you're human about it. Like if we're real about this, we face challenges, and what we do with them is totally up to us. And you're an inspiration here around that. This is what's
Yeah.
possible. Being a giant looks different for every person.
No, and it is. It's very important that it is that journey because I'm human, just like all of us. You know, we've all grown men on here, but I've had moments where I broke down. I'm sure I'll still have moments where I break down. You know what I mean? Like it's what we go through because and it's having that emotion, it's beating that battle, and it's like you said, like having the path, like if I hit a stump or I hit a wall or a mountain or whatever, I'm gonna figure out, hey, this didn't work for me, and like you said there, and again, this is me just believing in the law of attraction. Like I want something so bad that I feel like these different challenges are going to be brought up into my life because
Yeah,
it's like I'm going to bring this up because if you can get over this, JD, you deserve it. It's God's way of saying, like, if you really want this, it's all yours. But I'm going to give you these challenges that you have to figure out. So when you get to that point that you are fully ready for it, in the aspect of that, this needs to be a part of your story when you're talking to those people. Like, I need you to go through this so that you can help them.
Love that.
And so that's my way of saying, like, there's times and stuff, don't get me wrong, again, where I'm like, that's it. F it. Had enough. You know what I mean?
yep,
Okay.
I
I'm
think
just
we all have those moments.
McDonald's employment. Sign me up. I'm on my way. You know.
yeah,
But then I see the alternative too. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
that might lead me down to a very bad path, and it's
right.
not a path that I want. It's not a path that I want to show. But I'm willing to accept the challenges and the hardship that's in front of me because I know that I will overcome them. I know that I'll get past them, and then I get to that point. That's an experience I can share and help somebody else that's gone through it that didn't know how to get over it.
Amazing. See, this is your power.
And then
So,
tell
yeah.
us tell us too. So like we want to promote you and we want to know what you're up to now. So what's on the docket for JD? What is JD up to currently?
So currently, guys, I'm in solar cells. I'm an independent rep, and I actually use a couple companies because I'm the kind of rep that I make sure to give my customers the best options. Like I'm not in it I mean, there's just some. I'm not gonna say it, but we just got some salespeople that aren't so about the customer. So I'm very much about them. So if anybody needs a solar system or would like to see if renewable energy options, obviously a good option for them. I deal with all municipalities and the power companies across the state as well as across the country. So if somebody would like to look at that option and just so everybody knows that anybody that does go that way, anything that's offered or anybody says anything about waking up with giants or the other side of addiction, which again, I'm the co-host with Al, which has been a blessing. But money will be donated towards that so we can help with the cause and be able to help grow our purpose as well for every system that is done. So it's something
Do you
You're
have
that
an
so
e-
lucky you get to hang out with the giant Al Richards all the time.
I
What?
love it. I love hanging out with Al. And again, Al, it's been such a blessing to be with him, especially with the history that I've gone through. Obviously, you guys have heard his story with him and his wife and his past, and so it's not been an easy road, but again, thriving to be bigger than we are. So Al's an amazing man. Again, I'm very grateful. I actually I could be broke as shit, not know how I'm getting there. I would ride on the back of the bus, like literally on the back of a bus to get to the radio station on Thursdays.
Just
Like
jump
that's
on
how
jump
much I
on.
love it. I don't care. Like that's how much I
yeah,
love it.
JD?
And
What's
so
what's a good way to contact you?
yeah,
I
you
won't
guys
throw your
can.
phone number up here because yeah, you might get some unsolicited things, but maybe an email where it's a little easier to filter.
Yeah. Actually, hang on a
Or what do you
second.
prefer?
Here's something grateful for as you're grabbing that. I'm thankful for Nicole Castillo and for her showing up and Al Richards. Because of those two, we got to meet you, and the pathways and connections over time have become ingrained, with us. And I'm so grateful that we were on a path, they were on a path, and that our paths went like this.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
pretty cool. So thank you guys
Yeah.
for being giants.
Yeah, thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Al. Again, I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing, and I don't have enough words to express gratitude. Like I can't. It's It's overwhelming.
That's awesome.
With that, so the email people can reach me at, so you can look me up on Facebook, just the letter J, letter D, Greenouch, or so GreenHalgh. So
There you go, Al. That's how you say it.
Green Elk.
So, and then the email you guys can use, or if you want to reach out to me, you can use leaderforlife21@gmail.com. And that's how you can reach me through email. And again, if you guys are looking into that, and then if anybody, I'm just going to throw this out there, anybody ever wants a keynote speaker or needs somebody to help with the sales process or coaching your team or anything like that, from all the way from door to door, all the way to the sales process, again, I'd be happy to come in and speak with your guys' company. I've got a track record, an improvement track record to be able to take and help people see to the next level. So,
Or
Awesome.
how to throw a mean fastball.
Yeah.
Yep.
JD's got your
I don't
back.
know. I slowed down. We went to the batting cages, me and my son. I threw the ball. I threw it hard enough that like the blood like left my arm, so my fingers went numb. But so like I'm not conditioned for it, but I am proud to say this, and my son's proof. I still have it. So
Yeah,
I still have
boy.
it. So I was pretty
Awesome.
happy about that.
Well, JD, thanks for being on the show, man. This has been phenomenal. For those that are watching, continue your journey every day. Step into it. Create yourself as who you want to be. Hold that vision of what you're creating. And as always, go make it a giant day.
Tune into the other side of addiction so you can watch Al and JD go at it and interview some amazing people. We got the opportunity to be on there too, so I'm not just tooting my horn there, but there's so many great, amazing stories on there. So go watch that as well.
If you guys will share a link to that in the comments as well to your show so that people can find you, that'd be awesome.
Perfect.
Okay, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, thank you guys.
We'll
Love
see
you
you in
too.
the next episode.
Bye, Giant.
Thanks, guys.